chosen ones. There is a room somewhere right now. Maybe it's dimly lit. Maybe candles flicker against the walls. Maybe the air tastes thick with desperation. And in that room, people who once felt untouchable are pacing. They're sweating. They're looking at each other with panic in their eyes. Because something has gone terribly wrong with their plan. And that something is you. They didn't expect this. They signed contracts. They made deals. They invested everything into your downfall. And now they're watching you thrive. They're watching you smile. They're watching you move forward like nothing ever happened. And the question that haunts them every single night is this: how does this person know? Where did they get this knowledge? How did they escape our trap? What I'm about to share with you today will confirm everything you've been sensing in your spirit, every whisper you've heard in the quiet hours, every dream that felt more like a warning than imagination, every moment when you just knew something wasn't right about certain people. You weren't paranoid. You were being prepared. This is the moment the veil gets pulled back. This is your confirmation. This is the truth they never wanted you to discover. Let me tell you what's really been happening behind the scenes of your life. There was a plan, a calculated, deliberate plan designed specifically for your destruction. These weren't random obstacles falling into your path. These weren't coincidences or bad luck or the universe testing you. This was orchestrated. A group of people sat down and decided they wanted you gone. They wanted your light extinguished. They wanted everything you carry inside of you to be handed over to forces that would consume it. But here's what they miscalculated. They looked at you and saw someone ordinary. They saw someone they could manipulate, someone they could trick, someone naive enough to walk right into the pit they dug. They analyzed you with human eyes and made human assumptions. They forgot one critical detail. You were never ordinary. You never belonged to them. You belonged to something higher, so they made their investment. They performed their rituals. They did whatever dark work they believed would bring about your end, and then they sat back and waited. They waited for the news of your collapse. They waited for the phone call about your tragedy. They waited for the satisfaction of watching everything you built crumble into dust. But the weeks passed, then the months, and something strange started happening. You kept going, you kept breathing, you kept moving. Not only did you survive what should have destroyed you, but you started winning. You started glowing differently. Opportunities began appearing. Your mind got clearer, your spirit got stronger, and the people who bet against you started losing sleep. The first cracks appeared in their confidence when they realized the timeline had shifted. Whatever they expected to happen by a certain date simply didn't materialize. They checked in with each other. Maybe we didn't do it right. Maybe we need to try again. Maybe we need more power. So they doubled down. They invested more energy, more resources, more darkness, and still nothing touched you. Now panic has set in, because they know how these things work. They know the spiritual laws, even if they choose to violate them. They know that energy sent out must land somewhere, and if it's not landing on you, that means it's beginning to circle back. That means the very weapons they forged for your destruction are now pointing directly at them. Can you imagine that fear? Can you imagine being in a room full of co-conspirators, realizing that the monster you summoned is now hungry and you've got nothing to feed it except yourselves? This is their reality now. This is what keeps them up at night. This is why they're arguing with each other, blaming each other, turning against each other. The unity they once had in their hatred of you has dissolved into every person for themselves survival mode. And through it all, one question torments them more than any other. How did they figure this out? Because somewhere along the way you started knowing things. You started sensing things. You pulled back from situations that would have trapped you. You cut off people who were sent to harm you. You made decisions that seemed random at the time but turned out to be exactly what saved your life. They don't understand how. They covered their tracks. They smiled in your face. They played their roles perfectly. Nobody gave any signs. Nobody slipped up. And yet somehow you knew. Here's your confirmation. That knowing wasn't paranoia. That knowing wasn't anxiety playing tricks on you. That knowing was a gift from the highest realms of protection. The same way they have their sources in low places, you have sources in high places, and your sources are infinitely more powerful. There's a phrase that keeps coming through right now: when I move, you move. That's the relationship between you and divine guidance. Spirit moves and you move with it. You don't always understand why. You don't always have logical explanations, but something inside you responds to that still small voice, and you obey. That obedience is what saved you. Remember that time you felt the sudden urge to cancel plans. Remember when something told you not to accept that offer. Remember when you distanced yourself from someone even though they'd given you no obvious reason to. Remember when you took a different route, changed your mind, walked away from something that looked perfect on the surface. That was the divine intervening. That was your protection, making moves on your behalf. That was the difference between you falling into their trap and you walking around it like it wasn't even there, and they watched it happen. They watched you sidestep their schemes like you could see them coming from miles away. And now they're terrified because they realize they're dealing with something they don't understand. They're dealing with a force they can't manipulate. They're dealing with a bloodline and a backing that makes their little rituals look like children playing with matches. Let me tell you something about who you really are. You didn't just randomly end up with these gifts. You didn't accidentally stumble into spiritual awareness. There's a lineage attached to your name. There's a legacy connected to your existence. Somewhere in your family tree there were people who carried extraordinary light, priests and priestesses of the Most High, prophets and healers, warriors of the spirit realm. That DNA didn't disappear. It was passed down through generations, waiting for the right vessel, waiting for someone who would activate it, waiting for someone who would walk in the fullness of what their ancestors carried. That someone is you. And when these people came against you, they weren't just coming against a regular human being. They were declaring war against a royal lineage. They were throwing rocks at the throne of the Most High. They were poking a lion thinking it was a house cat. Now they understand their mistake. Now they see the full picture of who they actually challenged, and understanding has brought them nothing but terror. The sirens are going off in their lives right now, literally and spiritually. Everything that was supposed to be stable for them is shaking. Relationships that held their network together are falling apart. Health they took for granted is failing. Money they counted on is disappearing. Peace they once had has been replaced by constant anxiety. This isn't random. This is the law of return, doing what it always does. This is the energy they sent out completing its circuit. This is harvest season for everything they planted in secret. And here's what makes it even more unbearable for them. They have to watch you prosper while they suffer. They have to see you receive blessings while they receive consequences. They have to witness your joy while they live in dread. That's divine justice. That's the Most High showing exactly who belongs to who. But let me address something important right now. Some of you have been feeling guilty. Some of you have been questioning whether you're wrong for recognizing enemies as enemies. Some of you have been wondering if you're being too harsh by cutting people off or protecting your energy. Stop that. Stop right now. Recognizing snakes doesn't make you judgmental. It makes you wise. Protecting yourself from people who want to destroy you isn't mean, it's survival. Refusing to pretend you don't see what you see isn't paranoid, it's prophetic. The enemy has done an excellent job convincing chosen ones that spiritual discernment is somehow unchristian or unloving. They want you to ignore the warnings. They want you to keep your heart open to everyone, even when your spirit is screaming danger. They want you defenseless. No more. You're not required to forgive people into your inner circle. You're not required to give unlimited chances to those who've proven their intentions. You're not required to explain your boundaries to those who wouldn't respect them anyway. You can forgive from a distance. You can release bitterness without releasing your guard. You can wish someone well while never letting them near you again. That's not coldness. That's the wisdom of someone who finally understands their worth. Now let me tell you what's happening next, because this story isn't over. The best part is still unfolding. These people who worked against you are about to face a reckoning they never saw coming. The very things they wished on you are manifesting in their own lives. The destruction they designed for your future is redesigning their present. The death they tried to speak over your destiny is speaking over theirs, and some of them already know it. They can feel it. They wake up in the middle of the night with that knowing in their gut that something terrible is coming. They're seeing signs everywhere, dreams that haunt them, coincidences that feel like warnings, physical symptoms that doctors can't explain. This is what happens when you come for someone who belongs to the Most High. The protection doesn't just block the attack. The protection reverberates the attack back to its sender, multiplied. Some of you have been asking why. Why did these people target me? What did I ever do to deserve this? Why would anyone hate me enough to do these things? The answer has nothing to do with what you did wrong. The answer has everything to do with what you carry that they wanted. There's something in you that shines, a light, a gift, a frequency, something that draws blessing and favor wherever you go, something that makes ordinary situations extraordinary when you walk into them, something that feels like magic but is actually just your divine inheritance operating. They saw it, they wanted it, and when they realized they couldn't have it, they decided to destroy it. Think about that. These people would rather see your gift dead than alive in you. That's not normal disagreement. That's not regular jealousy. That's obsession. That's covenant-level hatred. That's the kind of animosity that makes people sacrifice their own souls just for a chance to hurt you. But they failed. They failed because what's in you can't be stolen. It can't be transferred. It can't be taken by force. It was given to you by a source that doesn't answer to witchcraft. It was sealed in you by a hand that no ritual can manipulate. And here's the part that really drives them crazy. You didn't even have to fight. You didn't have to perform counter-rituals. You didn't have to go to war in the ways they understand. All you had to do was stay connected to your source. All you had to do was remain obedient to divine guidance. All you had to do was keep your armor on. The battle wasn't yours. It was handled in realms you can't see by forces you can't comprehend. Your ancestors went to work. Angels were dispatched. The Most High himself said, "Not this one." And that was enough. That was more than enough. So where does this leave you now? Standing. Still standing when you should have fallen 100 times, still breathing when breath should have left your body, still moving forward when every obstacle was designed to stop you permanently. Do you understand how miraculous that is? Do you grasp the magnitude of what's happened for you? People who tap into serious darkness came at you with everything they had, and you're still here, whole, healthy, clear-minded, anointed. The victory doesn't get more complete than this. But don't mistake survival for the end goal. This was just the beginning. The attacks you weathered were meant to prevent what's coming next. The traps were set precisely because they could see your future in ways you maybe couldn't. They knew where you were headed, they knew what you would become, and they wanted to intercept your destiny before you could walk into it. They failed, which means your destiny is still waiting for you. The purpose they tried to abort is still viable. The calling they attempted to silence still has your name on it. Everything that was promised before any of this happened remains yours to claim. This is the moment to start moving again. Not moving in fear, not moving while looking over your shoulder, moving in power, moving in confidence, moving like someone who now fully understands they cannot be stopped, because you can't be stopped. Not by people, not by rituals, not by envy, not by betrayal, not by any weapon formed in secret. None of it can stop you, because stopping you requires access that they've been permanently denied. Let me tell you what your enemies see when they look at you now. They see someone surrounded by light they can't penetrate. They see someone walking in protection. They can't compromise. They see someone receiving favor they can't intercept. They see someone growing in power while they shrink in weakness, and it terrifies them. It terrifies them because they're stuck. The contracts they signed don't have exit clauses. The deals they made don't come with refunds. They're bound to consequences they can't escape while watching you live free from everything they tried to bind you to. That's the reality. That's what's actually happening right now. Some of you have been wondering why certain people have been acting strange lately, why connections that seemed solid suddenly feel different, why some folks can't quite look you in the eye anymore. Now you know, some of them were in on it, some of them knew about the plan. Some of them contributed energy, even if they didn't fully understand what they were contributing to. And now the exposure is happening, the masks are slipping, the truth is rising to the surface, whether they want it to or not. Let it rise, let the separations happen. Let the pretenders remove themselves. Every false person who exits your life is making room for real ones who will celebrate rather than tolerate your existence. This is purification. This is divine house cleaning. This is preparation for the next level where only genuine souls can accompany you. Don't chase after anyone who's leaving. Don't beg for explanations. Don't try to convince people to stay. If they're walking out, hold the door open and wish them well. Your assignment isn't to convert enemies into friends. Your assignment is to fulfill your calling with whoever remains standing beside you. And trust me, the ones who remain will be worth more than 100 superficial connections ever were. Now let me speak directly to the anxiety some of you might be feeling. Because knowing you have enemies can trigger fear. Knowing people worked against you can make you feel unsafe. Knowing darkness was literally targeted at your life can shake your sense of security. I need you to breathe. Now let me put you onto something real, Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. Breathe and understand something critical. If they could have succeeded, they would have. The fact that you're hearing this message right now proves that their best efforts weren't good enough. Their most powerful attacks couldn't touch what matters most. So why would you fear people who've already proven they're powerless against you? The fear makes no logical sense once you understand the evidence. They tried, they failed, they're suffering consequences, you're thriving. Every data point confirms you're protected. Every outcome demonstrates you're favored. Release the anxiety. It's not serving you, it's not protecting you. It's just trying to steal the peace you've rightfully earned. You can walk in this world aware but not afraid, discerning but not paranoid, prepared but not anxious. That's the energy of someone who knows they're untouchable. That's the frequency of chosen ones who understand exactly who's backing them. Now let me tell you about the future these people tried to steal from you. There are blessings with your name on them that have been held in escrow. Opportunities that were blocked are about to be released. Connections that were interfered with are about to be restored. Resources that were diverted are about to flow directly to you. Everything they tried to intercept is coming in accelerated fashion. You're not just getting what was promised, you're getting it with interest. The delay has added compound blessing. Doors that wouldn't open before will swing wide now. People who couldn't see you will suddenly see you clearly. Paths that seemed permanently closed will reveal themselves as available. This is the breakthrough season. This is the manifestation season. This is the season where everything they said wouldn't happen for you happens right in their faces, and you won't have to force it. You won't have to manipulate it. You won't have to chase it. It will come to you because it was always meant for you. The only thing keeping it distant was interference. The interference has been handled. Now there's nothing between you and your inheritance. Walk into it. Walk into your purpose without apology. Walk into your blessing without guilt. Walk into your destiny without looking back at people who tried to prevent you from arriving. They don't deserve your attention anymore. They've already consumed enough of your mental energy. No more analyzing what they did, no more replaying the betrayals, no more giving them any portion of your thought life. Forward. Everything is forward from here. The same energy you were using to survive now gets redirected to thriving. The same vigilance you needed to stay safe now gets channeled into building. The same strength you developed through warfare now gets applied to creation. You came out of this fire refined, purified, upgraded. What didn't kill you literally made you more powerful than you were before any of this started. That's the irony they didn't anticipate. Their attacks didn't weaken you. Their attacks activated dormant gifts inside you. Their opposition forced you to tap into reserves you didn't know you had. Their hatred awakened a warrior identity that might have stayed sleeping if they'd left you alone. So in a twisted way, your enemies contributed to your evolution. They intended harm but produced elevation. They meant evil but facilitated growth. They pushed you toward the very greatness they were trying to prevent. God really does work in mysterious ways. Now here's my instruction for you moving forward. Guard what you know. Not everyone needs to understand what you understand. Not everyone needs to hear about the protection over your life or the enemies who fell while trying to harm you. Some knowledge is meant to be carried quietly. Some victories are meant to be celebrated privately. Some truths are meant to strengthen your personal faith without becoming public testimony. Let the results speak. Let the outcome be the evidence. Let your continued success communicate everything that needs to be said. You don't owe explanations to people who wouldn't believe you anyway. You don't need validation from people who've never experienced what you've experienced. You don't require agreement from those who aren't walking your path. Know what you know, stand confident in your awareness, and keep moving. The cult that came against you will continue to deteriorate. That's not a wish. That's a spiritual law in motion. They've already set the course of their own destruction. Nothing you do or don't do will change that trajectory now. Your only responsibility is to step fully into what's been preserved for you. Your only obligation is to maximize the destiny they tried to minimize. Your only assignment is to become exactly who you were created to be before anyone ever tried to stop you. And here's where we've come full circle. Remember that room I described at the beginning, the one where your enemies pace and sweat and panic? That room is getting smaller for them. The walls are closing in. The options are dwindling. The exits are disappearing. They're trapped in the consequences of their own choices, while you walk in the freedom of your own protection. The question they keep asking gets louder in their minds every single day. How did this person know? Where did they get this knowledge? How did they escape our trap? They'll never get satisfying answers, because the truth would require them to acknowledge a power they've spent their lives denying. It would require them to admit they picked a fight with forces beyond their understanding. It would require them to face the reality that not everyone is as spiritually defenseless as they assumed. You weren't defenseless. You were just unaware of your own defenses. Now you're aware. Now you know who you are. Now you know whose you are. Now you know what backs you. Now you know why you survived what should have destroyed you. Carry that knowledge into every space you enter from this moment forward. Let it change how you walk. Let it shift how you speak. Let it transform how you see yourself. You are chosen. You are protected. You are connected to the highest power in existence. You are a carrier of gifts that darkness cannot comprehend. You are dangerous to every demonic agenda just by existing in your full identity. And the people who tried to extinguish your flame, they're learning the hardest way possible that some fires can't be put out, some lights can't be dimmed, some chosen ones can't be touched no matter how much darkness is deployed against them. That's you. Stand in it, walk in it, live in it. The victory has already been won. The only thing left is to enjoy every single day of the abundant life that was always meant to be yours. This is your confirmation. This is your validation. This is the truth they never wanted you to discover. Now go live like someone who knows exactly who they are, because you do. But before you go, let me leave you with one final revelation. The knowledge that torments your enemies isn't just about you knowing their plans. It's deeper than that. It's about you knowing yourself. The moment you woke up to who you actually are, their power over you evaporated completely. They were operating under the assumption that you'd stay asleep, that you'd stay distracted, that you'd stay disconnected from your true identity and divine inheritance. That assumption cost them everything, because a sleeping giant can be bound, a sleeping giant can be robbed, a sleeping giant can be positioned into traps before they ever open their eyes. But once that giant wakes up, once that giant remembers their strength, once that giant stands to their full height and surveys the landscape with clear vision, the game changes completely, and the people who were bold when you were sleeping are suddenly terrified now that you're awake. That's exactly what happened. You woke up. Maybe it was a sudden awakening, a single moment where everything clicked into place, or maybe it was gradual, a slow accumulation of realizations that eventually reached critical mass. Either way, consciousness arrived, awareness flooded in, and nothing has been the same since. Your enemies felt the shift. They couldn't explain it. They just knew something had changed. The person they'd been manipulating suddenly became unpredictable. The patterns they'd mapped out stopped being reliable. The reactions they'd counted on stopped occurring, and they panicked, because they recognized what was happening even if they didn't want to admit it. They recognized that their window of opportunity was closing, that the element of surprise they'd been leveraging was disappearing, that very soon they'd be dealing with someone who could see them clearly. So they rushed. They accelerated their plans, they made sloppy moves, and those sloppy moves created evidence, breadcrumbs that led you to truths they'd kept hidden for years. Funny how that works. Their fear of your awakening caused them to make exactly the mistakes that confirmed your suspicions. They literally handed you the proof you needed because they were too nervous to be careful anymore. Divine setup, perfect orchestration. The very energy they sent out to destroy you became the energy that exposed them. Now they're sitting in the ruins of their own schemes, looking around at the destruction they caused themselves, wondering how it all went so wrong so fast, and the only answer that makes sense is an answer they refuse to accept: God, not luck, not coincidence, not your intelligence alone. God stepped into your situation and flipped the script entirely. The trap they set for you became the trap they're caught in. The pit they dug for you is the pit they're standing in. The death they spoke over you is the death that's speaking over their households, and all you had to do was trust. All you had to do was obey the nudges. All you had to do was stay connected to your source, even when you didn't fully understand what was happening. Your faith saved you. Not perfect faith, not unwavering faith, just enough faith to keep listening, just enough faith to keep following divine instruction, just enough faith to stay in alignment when everything in the natural world was screaming at you to make different choices. That faith is more valuable than any weapon. That faith is more powerful than any ritual. That faith is the reason you're hearing this message as a victor instead of as a victim. Never underestimate what simple trust in the Most High can accomplish. Your enemies came at you with elaborate ceremonies and coordinated attacks. You came at them with prayer and obedience. And prayer and obedience won. Let that be the foundation of everything moving forward, not revenge fantasies, not counter curses, not becoming what you oppose, just continued faith, continued obedience, continued alignment with the source that's already proven it can handle anything sent against you. You don't need to match their energy. You need to stay in your energy. The light you carry does more damage to darkness than any shadow work ever could. Your frequency alone disrupts their operations. Your presence alone dismantles their plans. Just keep shining, keep glowing, keep radiating what was placed inside you. That's the only strategy you need. They'll continue trying to figure out how you escaped. They'll continue analyzing what went wrong. They'll continue looking for weaknesses they can exploit. And they'll continue finding nothing, because there's no weakness when you're covered. There's no vulnerability when you're protected. There's no gap in the armor when the Most High himself is standing guard. They were never fighting you. They were fighting something infinitely larger, something ancient, something eternal, something that has never lost a single battle in the history of existence. And they're just now realizing that. The fear in their eyes when they think about you isn't fear of you as a person. It's fear of what stands behind you. It's fear of what moves through you. It's fear of the reality that they challenged the wrong kingdom and now consequences are inevitable. That's not your burden to carry. That's theirs. Your burden is simply to walk forward into everything that's been prepared for you, to accept the blessings without guilt, to embrace the success without apology, to become everything your enemies tried to prevent while they watch from their positions of suffering. This is the reality now. This is the truth that can't be reversed. You won. They lost. Case closed. Story finished. Book completed. The cult is trying to figure out how you found this out. They're trying to understand where you get this knowledge from. And they'll spend the rest of their days searching for answers that will never satisfy them. Meanwhile, you'll be living your purpose, building your legacy, walking in your authority, manifesting your destiny. The contrast couldn't be clearer, the separation couldn't be more complete, the victory couldn't be more total. Accept it, celebrate it, then move forward into everything that's waiting for you on the other side of this warfare. You've earned it. Every single blessing that's coming has your name written on it. Every single door that's opening was designed for your entrance. Every single opportunity that's appearing was preserved specifically for this moment. Walk through, step in, claim what's yours. The chosen ones don't beg for scraps. The chosen ones don't apologize for abundance. The chosen ones don't shrink to make enemies comfortable. The chosen ones stand tall, receive fully, and keep moving forward with the confidence of someone who knows exactly whose team they're on. That's you. That's who you've always been. That's who you're fully becoming right now. No more hiding, no more doubting, no more questioning whether you deserve the protection you've received. You deserve all of it. You were created for all of it. You were marked for all of it before you ever took your first breath. And now the whole spiritual realm knows it. The angels know it. The ancestors know it. The Most High knows it. Even your enemies know it now. The only one who sometimes forgets is you. So let this message be your reminder. You are chosen. You are covered. You are unstoppable. Now go live like it, because you know exactly who you are. And that knowledge, that's the knowledge they'll never be able to figure out how you found. It was inside you all along. You just needed to wake up